With shocking video, a 15-year-old girl brutally attacked and robbed by a gang of teenage boys in Brooklyn.
You can see they are punching and kicking her until she lost consciousness. The gang of boys even stole the shoes off of her feet and her debit card. Eyewitness News reporter Jim Dolan is.
Here comes the judge. It's the Yogi Judge. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to get right to it. Look at that video. It is absolutely embarrassing and it's insane. Those young men were acting like savages, and there's nothing we can do to justify their behavior. And to make matters worse, it's a little girl that's laying on the ground being kicked, beaten, and punched by a bunch of men. I blame those young men. I blame the school system. And most importantly, I blame the families. That's absolutely right. I blame the mothers and fathers who are walking around with their hands off the steering wheel, more worried about everything that deals with self than the responsibility of raising young men who not only respect themselves, but respect ladies. So I want you to think of it from this perspective. We're always talking about negative police interaction, but I tell you, it's those videos that create the narrative when police react in our community. They don't go to their morning meetings and look at videos of men and women going to work who are professionals. What they do is they look at those videos of people who are acting terrible in the community so that they can be aware of some of the worst behavior. So when they interact with young men and women in our community, this is what they're responding to. And it's very unfortunate. And one more thing to think about. Imagine if that's your daughter laying on the ground being kicked, beaten, and punched by a bunch of young men and her shoes being ripped off her feet. How would you want the police to interact with the young men who did it? Would you want them to walk up to him and say, hey, sir, you know what? We just, maybe can we, no, you wouldn't want that. You would want them to grab those young men, put them in handcuffs, do whatever you have to do to get them under control so that they can be arrested and brought to justice. See, that's the other side of the story that we don't normally think about. There are always two sides to the story, and I'm never going to justify police brutality. But at the same time, when the police are responding to an emergency for me or my family, I want them to handle it like the police should. Get those young men under control, get them under the Justice Center so a judge like me can put them in jail. All right, you take care. It's Judge Dawson. I'll be back soon.